Samsung's flagship Note series phone is finally back. What I have in studio today for you guys is the Samsung Galaxy Note 8. And in the UK, we've not had a Note product previously until the Samsung Galaxy Note 4, and it's great to finally see Samsung revive their Note series handset. I'm your host Ben on the Lover of Tech channel. I'm going to be bringing you an exclusive hands-on and preview of the Samsung Galaxy Note 8. Without further ado, let's roll the intro. So the Note series is back, and this year's model is the Samsung Galaxy Note 8, and we're going to be looking at the key things that make it different from the previous model, which is the design, S Pen, camera and performance. Let's take a look at the design. So the design of the Note 8 follows from previous Notes where it feels really similar, but it's really been advanced and stepped up. The Infinity Edge display design, which was initially introduced on the S8 and S8 Plus, has made a return, which is absolutely great. The display size is now 6.3 inches, which is a massive increase over the 5.5 inch and a 5.7 inch display from previous models, following the symmetrical design with the edge-to-edge display at the front and the back of the display, now with more of a squared off design on the rounded corners. What this allows is better accommodation for the internal S Pen that is built into the phone, and also more screen real estate with a nice screen to body ratio of 83%, with a display size corner to corner at 6.3 inches, and the return of the Infinity display. The use of Samsung's class leading Super AMOLED display with a resolution of 2960 by 1440 quad high definition plus makes a splash. And this is absolutely great to see that this display technology is absolutely at the forefront of the Samsung Galaxy Note 8. Mobile HDR certification makes a big splash comeback, which is absolutely great to see that HDR is going to be taking full advantage on this display, and also being the biggest display ever put on a Note device with the new bezel-less design followed from the S8 and S8 Plus. This is going to be a much more comfortable phone to fit in the hand to be able to use and have productivity done. Overall, the design is better than ever, and that is no surprise. This Infinity display edge design on here from the Galaxy S8 and S8 Plus is a class winner worldwide, and it's great to see it being carried over to the Note 8 and also improved. Gorilla Glass 5 makes a comeback, but this time 7000 series aluminium has been introduced over 6000 to give it more strength. You can feel in the hand that this is a much more sturdy and a much heavier device, which gives it that more premium feel in your hand when you're using it. Now let's talk about the specs and the performance. So looking at this now, familiarities has come over from the S8 and S8 Plus, but there has been improvements. In the UK, you do get the Exynos 8895 10nm processor, octa-core based just like you did before, 2.3 GHz with the high performance, 1.7 GHz for the low performance, but now with 6 GB of RAM, which is really going to help with multitasking, to see a difference with how many apps can be used at the same time and leveraging the multitasking abilities of the Galaxy Note 8, and also the enablement with the desktop experience using DeX, where it transforms your phone into your personal computer with the DeX station. 64 GB of internal storage is back with 256 GB expandability with the SD card, AKG headphones in a box, 3300 mAh batteries, fast charging enabled. Very familiar territory when it comes to class leading performance internally, which we're going to run through its paces to see how it holds up in a full review. Now onto the camera. This is where Samsung are pulling out the stops, and this is Samsung's first flagship phone to have two camera lenses at the back. This is using a dual lens camera technology where both cameras are 12 megapixels, where you have a standard 12 megapixel wide angle one, which uses the dual pixel AF technology for fast auto focusing, OIS stabilization, f1.7 aperture, 1.4 micron pixel size, everything that you're used to on the Galaxy S8 and S8 Plus. But this is also flanked by a secondary telephoto camera, which is using an f2.4 aperture hybrid autofocus, a ×2 constant state telephoto camera, and also a pixel size of 1.0 microns. This is what's going to change and give you the zooming in, lossless zoom ability. But the amazing thing about this camera is the second camera lens has OIS as well. This is the first dual camera in the world on a mobile phone which uses dual OIS on a dual camera lens. This is the showstopper for Samsung that they're really promoting and showing off to give you better stabilization in many different ways. The return of the front-facing 8 megapixel autofocus camera with digital image stabilization is back with an f1.7 aperture and a 1.22 micron pixel size for great selfies and all the many features that came with the software experience to utilize the selfie camera. Additional camera features has been added with the software experience to leverage the power of the dual camera lens. So the most noticeable thing you're going to notice is that there is a new shooting mode called live focus, and this is effectively portrait mode where you're able to add background blur or background bokeh just like you would do in a low aperture high quality DSLR camera. And the great thing about this is using image processing and artificial blur with the secondary lens where you're actually able to do this live and also after post when you actually take a picture. So you can actually judge how much in terms of blur that you want in the background, which is really utilizing the internal power and the ability to dual use the lens, and also having dual optical image stabilization allows for the long exposure and better performance in low light when you're using the telephoto lens. This is Samsung really wanting to show how you do dual camera, and we're gonna definitely put it through its paces in a full review to give it a good camera comparison to see how big is the difference between that and the Galaxy S8 and S8 Plus. There's also additional shooting modes where you have dual capture, where you're actually able to utilize the ability to take 2 photos at the same time, where this does it automatically when you're doing live focus, and it actually takes a wide angle picture and a telephoto picture where you can actually blur and you can actually pick in between which one you prefer the most. And this is again utilizing the best performance and internals and the ability of how you use dual cameras. And Samsung really wants to show how they want to separate it. We're going to put it through its paces to actually see how beneficial this is in terms of using and implementing the dual camera lens technology. Let's talk about the S Pen. And the S Pen is more than a stylus. This is what defined and made the Note brand what it is. And the improvements to the S Pen are familiar, but they've also worked on it to give it so many more features to be able to benefit from. And it's something that will be given a special featurette, but I'm just going to give you a nice small overview of what kind of things to expect from the S Pen when you're using. So the S Pen itself has a thinner tip at 0.7 millimeters, 4096 levels of pressure, 3 grams, S Pen button there for air commands and used as an eraser, which is a new feature. It's also IP68, where it's water and dust resistant, which is absolutely great. Doesn't need a power, and it's very familiar to what we're used to on the S Pen, but really nicely refined. You've got new modes when you launch air command by pressing the S Pen button on the screen, where you've got things like live message to make your messaging much more lively and actually come to life by actually having different writing modes when you're using the S Pen, which is demonstrated here. And it's great to see it's adding a bit more fun and functionality to the S Pen when you're doing your messaging. Translate's also been improved where you can actually translate from different languages, not just word for word, but in group sentences as well. Overall, the S Pen is going to be given a separate featurette because the functions have been greatly improved in so many different ways that it really revitalizes. The reason why you would get a Galaxy Note product in the first place is to be surrounded by all the functions that you get with the S Pen when you need to use it and also when you use it regularly. Last touches on Bixby, which has finally been given a voice functionality in the UK, so we're going to test it out to see how it's performed against when it was originally launched in the S8. And that's something that was really promoted with the keynote, that Bixby's been really given a nice overhaul, and it's going to be something that's going to help you use in terms of phone navigation without having to touch the phone, which is going to be really safe for things like when you're in the car for hands-free navigation. We're going to put all that through the paces and see how the overall package on the Note 8 is. There is so much to run through when it comes to the Galaxy Note 8. and I cannot wait to start using this phone to give you a full review of how this phone functions and uses. It's just been so long since we've had a Note product, and I'm so happy this product has come back. No product is perfect, and we're gonna do that. We're going to talk about so many things that have changed and also been added and taken away, such as the battery reduction to 3,300 milliamps, how that's going to actually perform compared to all the new additions, such as 6 gigs of RAM for more power and stronger multitasking, and also all the software features that come, such as screen off memo and all the different functions. There's just so much to run through. Be sure to subscribe and stay locked and tuned in. There's going to be camera comparisons, performance comparisons, battery comparisons. My goodness, there's so much that I just want to do with this Note device, and it is back. And I hope you guys enjoyed the quick hands-on and initial preview of how the Note 8 is performing right now on day one after the Unpacked event. I'm your host Ben on the Lover of Tech channel. Like, subscribe, share. Be sure to hit the notification bell to be part of the notification squad when new content about the Note 8 pops up on the channel. If there's any specific things that you want to see on the channel, let's have a discussion in the comment section below. I'll be more than happy to help. Thank you so much for tuning in. The Note 8 is back. I'm happy as anything, and I'm signing out, and I'll see you next time.